Many people think that cavities only happen because of sweets or poor hygiene. But there's another factor that almost nobody talks about. If your body lacks certain vitamins and minerals, your teeth and gums can become weaker, and your protection against cavities gets worse. There are 5 important nutrients that your teeth really need to stay strong. Let me tell you which vitamins these are and how to take them. An important point. The vitamins and minerals I'm about to talk about don't cure cavities that have already formed, and they definitely don't replace your toothbrush or visits to the dentist. Everything related to minerals and vitamins for our bodies has probably already become old news for people who care about or are interested in their health. And wherever you look, as they say, everyone is talking about vitamins, minerals, and balanced nutrition. This actually applies directly to your teeth. I had a neighbor who had a daughter. Her daughter was still in high school, in the upper grades. She had model looks, very beautiful, a lovely girl, and she took really good care of her teeth. You could say she was very thorough about it. She would come to our dental clinic for cleanings almost all the time back then, and yet every time this girl came in, she always had new cavities. Her oral hygiene was perfectly fine. At the time, we couldn't figure it out. We just left it up to her parents. They'd come to us and we'd say, well, it's cavities. Maybe she's not brushing well, maybe it's sweets. We didn't really look into it back then, but when it started happening regularly, we had to step in and ask more questions to figure out what was going on. And as it turned out, this very young girl, whose body was still developing, she was only 17 or 18, was following a very strict diet and hardly ate any foods that actually contain the most essential nutrients. She absolutely refused to eat meat. Dairy too, like cottage cheese. Basically, she was practically living on air, as they say. Can you imagine? And then, of course, we figured it out. So her crystal lattice, the very thing we're about to talk about, which is made up of these minerals and vitamins, if it gets weakened, all that plaque and all those bacteria eat away at our enamel so quickly that no amount of brushing or care can save it. That's why everything related to vitamins and minerals actually applies not just to the whole body, but to your teeth as well. So it's essential to monitor their levels and presence in your body, to keep an eye on their concentration, and to eat a balanced and nutritious diet. First vitamin you need to pay attention to, which is involved in almost every process in our body, especially in the skeletal system and in calcium absorption, is vitamin D. It is, of course, produced in our bodies. Most often it's produced when we're exposed to sunlight, meaning active, direct sunlight. But unfortunately, not everyone lives in such sunny regions. So a large number of people have a deficiency of this vitamin. And it is this vitamin that binds calcium, allowing it to be transported and absorbed in the right amounts in the bones, teeth, and everywhere else it's needed. In second place is the one that's traditional for our bones and teeth, the one we see in almost every commercial. Of course, it's calcium. Calcium is a building material. It's the framework, the skeleton, or the foundation for our bones and teeth. That's why calcium is a very important material for the strength of our teeth and their ability to protect themselves from cavities. And the more its concentration is needed in the teeth or in our body, the stronger our teeth actually become, and the more resistant they are to caries. Like this post, if you think calcium is a very important element for teeth, vitamin K2. Some scientists call it a hidden vitamin that actually affects our body, and in particular, our teeth. It is precisely this vitamin that also helps our body absorb and transport the calcium we take in. In general, when it comes to calcium, a lot of it is washed out of the body every day. When we consume calcium, a large amount of it just gets flushed out. But thanks to vitamin K, it binds and is transported to our teeth, making them much stronger. The next vitamin is one of the most common ones we've known since childhood, and it's used practically everywhere. By the way, we know about it from those childhood stories in biology or anatomy class when they talk about sailors who went on long voyages and developed a terrible gum disease. It was called scurvy. That is, their gums would become inflamed, bleed, and even healthy teeth would fall out. And the poor sailors even died because infections would set in. People actually died from scurvy. And as it turned out, it was all due to a lack of vitamin C. Give this a like if you've ever had scurvy on a ship. Vitamin C itself doesn't directly affect the teeth, but it does have a very positive and beneficial effect on the strength of our gums. An important point: there are some patients who, when they have gum disease, start rubbing vitamin C or applying it directly to their gums. Citric acid, or maybe some lemon juice, or anything else that contains vitamin C. That's not how it works. Of course, what's meant here is taking it internally. Any vitamin I'm talking about right now should only be taken after you've had tests done for micronutrients, and only after consulting with your doctor should you decide whether or not to take such vitamins. But speaking of vitamin C, it's a very necessary vitamin and has a very positive effect on the strength and health of our gums. Our gums become stronger and more resilient. What is the function of the gums? The gums protect and literally hug our teeth. So the tooth sticks out like this and the gum wraps right around it. That's why the more resilient and strong the gum is, the fewer bacteria get under it. Basically, everything related to the gums is the foundation or support for our teeth, so gum health is very important. And you've probably heard a lot of stories about periodontitis, when we lose a perfectly healthy tooth just because the gum got inflamed and the inflammation spread deep into the root. That's why the gum is an important protective buffer, a kind of shield against infections. By the way, share in the comments which specific vitamins or minerals you or maybe your relatives have taken that directly affected your dental health and made a difference. And the fifth vitamin, one that might seem unusual but is actually used or needed almost everywhere in the body, is vitamin A. This particular vitamin stabilizes, or let's say regulates, the necessary saliva exchange or saliva production, as well as the composition of saliva, which helps prevent cavities, because it's actually the gums that help us prevent cavities, since the gums contain everything the body needs. There's a special enzyme, lysozyme, which is bactericidal. So just think about it. Saliva, nature really thought of everything. Saliva contains everything. It has a special pH, meaning its acidity level is just right to kill those bacteria. Thanks to saliva, plaque is washed off the teeth, and thanks to lysozyme, those bacteria are killed. That's why saliva is such an important factor as well. And for patients who have problems with saliva production or the composition of their saliva, first of all, that's people who smoke, because everyone who smokes has a different saliva composition. In other words, dehydration occurs. People who don't drink enough water, it affects the health of our teeth in the same way. That means the saliva doesn't rinse the mouth. Those who snore at night, meaning they breathe through their mouth, their teeth dry out very quickly, and the gums just can't keep up, so to speak. And dryness in the mouth develops very quickly. But there are also a number of other diseases. Vitamin A is a very important element for the composition of saliva and for salivation. Of course, I haven't listed all the vitamins and minerals needed to protect or strengthen our teeth. That also includes B vitamins and magnesium, but we've covered the main ones together. So in any case, when it comes to the vitamin composition of your blood or your body, I'll repeat, everything absolutely must go through proper diagnostics. First, go see your dentist. The dentist will examine you, and if necessary, will definitely have you take these tests. Or if you decide to take them on your own, by all means, go ahead. But ultimately, it's the dentist who makes the decision. Bring these test results to your dentist, and they will competently and correctly either select the right treatment for you or, on the contrary, advise you against it. It's important to note that you don't necessarily have to get minerals and vitamins from pills. Nature's already figured it all out for us. All these minerals and vitamins are found in food, but only in healthy food. So what is healthy food? It's food that isn't canned and hasn't been processed in any way. That's real, traditional country food. That means cottage cheese, and all kinds of dairy products. Meat is a must, too. Fish is also very beneficial. Eggs are incredibly good for you. And of course, fresh greens. Everything that grows in our own gardens is really healthy. By the way, we actually have a whole video where we talk about artificial food versus natural food. And that's exactly what people say. Those who live in villages far from civilization have much healthier teeth. And they don't even brush them. Wishing you good health. Take care of yourselves and your loved ones.